Remember this?
Where's my money?
What about this?
You get hung up on.
Both claim they're falling on hard times because the Georgia Department of Labor is not answering their claims. With New Year's Eve less than 24 hours away, fire officials say they want you to have a good time, but they also want you to be safe.
I feel like mountain lions are like more than cats. Like there's something else, and they're like in their own species, right?
Did you bring me my umbrella?
I guess he didn't bring me my umbrella.
And welcome to another episode of Limelight, where we're taking it to the 24th floor.
Today we're in Atlanta at the Baddies ATL premiere, where we talk to some of the hottest bad girls. Not only the department, I also caught up with a few residents who say they haven't done anything different from months past, so they can't understand why this month's bill is so high. Medical professionals say chemical burns usually start out as an accident.
You said you suffer a little bit from depression, just trying to be in this industry. What do you feel drove you to that point? Because I didn't know that, and I'm sorry, friend. I didn't know you was going through that. Would you recommend becoming an associate producer for reality TV? Yes or no? Why?
Team J-Stars takes off in their Joint Stars aircraft on a training mission where the crew is trained on operations of combat. Now, what's interesting about this flight crew is that it's made up of all black men and women, and guess who's in charge of flying? A woman.
You're in charge of everyone's life right now.
Yes.
You're not scared.
No. That's where I live.
Captain Andrea Lewis, the first black female pilot of the Georgia Air National Guard in 2019, says from a young age she knew she wanted to fly. Lewis was a flight attendant, went to flight school, and now is the co-pilot for Team J-Stars.
We are out here, we can do this, and along with the rest of my crew, that you can do anything that you set your mind to.
Team J-Stars normally includes about 15 to 20 airmen and soldiers made up of Georgia International Guardmen, the active duty Air Force, and Army aviators. Project Officer Dewey McCrae says to see so much unity is a dream come true.
To be able to take this crew and put everyone together and know the type of leadership, experience that are going into the crew, it means a lot. It just happens to be a perk that we all look like each other.
Which is most difficult, says Lewis. She says being black and a woman in a pilot position is unheard of, but says she must carry on the legacy of the Tuskegee Airmen and her late father.
My dad was a captain for a major airline, and so I'm actually here today because of him. So I guess I didn't think about that until now.
Kanata Crumbly, director of Joint Staff for the Georgia National Guard, says having an all-black team is powerful. Crumbly says he was the first black wing commander of the 116 Air Control Wing, so he understands the difficulty Lewis faces.
And you have to make sure that people know you belong here, right? And sometimes that's a delicate game, but it's a game that you have to play because no one works this hard to sit in the background.
In Warner Robins, Jatrissa Wooten, 41 NBC News.
We had to take the floor all the way down to the dirt.
Husband and wife Lynette and Michael Tomlin opened Clover Wine Merchant in downtown Perry. It's named after their granddaughter. Michael says with years of experience in the food and beverage industry and traveling back and forth from California to Georgia, Perry is a good place for a business.
There's a need. There's a need for any food and beverage downtown here in Perry.
Whether it's a celebration or night on the town, owners of Clover Wine Merchants says you can choose from hundreds of bottles of wine from all over the world, even here in the United States.
From the Sea of Galilee to South Africa, of course, all of Europe and Greece.
The interesting aspect about the wine store is it's not a bar and offers classes to learn about wines and their origin. The Tomlins say they will have their first class Wednesday night, and seating will be limited to 25 people.
I want to take away the intimidation factor. It should be fun. It shouldn't be snobby, but I do respect the high-end part of it.
Michael says the bottles range from $22 to $200. He says there is something for everyone. According to Lynette, they handpicked each bottle.
When he's looking at different wines or he's looking for particular wines, he's looking at the vintage, he's looking at the varietal, he's looking at the winemaker, he's looking at the area or the region, and he takes all these bits and pieces of information, and he's like, that, if you put all these things together, that might make a good wine.
Clover Wine Merchant is open every day except on Sunday. The Tomlins say the doors are open, but they will have a grand opening soon. In Perry, Jatrissa Wooten, 41 NBC News. Voters in District 5 are scratching their heads after they say they received this absentee ballot. Now, what's so confusing is that voters are saying the mayoral race was on there and not the race for their district. Candidate for Macon-Bibb Commission District 5, Seth Clark, first got wind of a ballot concern earlier this week from voters in his district. Clark says one District 5 voter reached out to him after receiving what she calls a faulty absentee ballot for early voting. Clark says the woman, a registered Georgia voter who is eligible to vote in District 5, said when she saw the options, the commissioner's race wasn't on it.
Only had the mayor's race on it.
After seeing the ballot himself, Clark says he sprung into action. Here's an example of the photocopied absentee ballot Clark emailed to the Macon-Bibb Board of Elections as proof. He also filed a formal complaint with the Georgia Secretary of State's office.
Their response was that the state director is going to look at it immediately.
According to Clark, the woman filed an affidavit with the State Board of Elections. She filed with another voter who had already sent back her own ballot, unaware of the missing race. Clark says whether the vote is for him or his opponent, Carlton Kitchens, he wants people to have their voices heard fairly. Clark says no matter the district, the voters should always double check their ballots. And if they find any problems, report it to the Board of Elections office. In Macon, Jatrissa Wooten, 41 NBC News.